Hey, it's Ben Chan. Tonight, my 3-year-old and 1-year-old are going to bed as we speak, and so if you hear any thumping or yelling, that's them. Okay, so let's talk about Let It Go at a more intermediate high level. I'm going to talk you through some of the things that I did or think of doing as I'm playing this piece. And you can incorporate it into your own playing, or you can decide that it's not for you, that you want to do it a different way. And also, hopefully, this will help you with other pieces that you're playing, maybe some of the theories, the ideas. So here it goes. Let's start from the beginning. Now you notice I went up in third position instead of playing it in open strings. The reason why I do that, so listen to the difference. So first it's versus. So two things. One is that if I'm up on in third position, I can control the vibrato on the D, so it doesn't sound so dry. And also, I like the fact that all of the notes are on the G string during that measure, because then they all sound very uniform. If I'm switching strings, I apologize, my strings are a little squeaky. I don't know why, but it's a change, and it's I guess maybe a little bit abrasive. And so when you do it all on the G string, then that makes it more uniform, more calm sounding. Okay, going. Now the trick here is that if you're playing up on the higher string, or rather you're playing up in third or fourth position, it's going to get harder for you to play it in tune. So when you do shift, make sure that you're shifting to the spot without kind of like guessing where it is. And so what I like to do when I shift is to find where it is with my hand very slowly. For example, if I went from first to third position, as in, well, let's see. First of all, measure 3, the very last note of that G. When you get to this G, or even the G before that, you have the G, the 16th note tied to a quarter note, you should already be shifting. Okay, so see how my hand just went to third position here? And you can actually check it. This is something that a lot of performers do. They will go, do you hear that? It's very subtle, but I'm just tapping my finger down just to make sure I can hear what pitch it's going to be. And that gives me more reassurance as a performer that I'm going to hit the right note. Plus, it's not very audible. You can probably hear it because I'm so close to the mic, but that's kind of how I like to get to third position using an open string. It's a good technique to use on any piece that you're playing. All right? Okay, so now we're in measure 6. Here I like to go to the D string. So and the reason why is because I want it to sound different. So far up to measure 6, I've been playing on the G string, just this nice calm, uniform sound. And now she's getting a little bit more emotional, right? She's starting to talk a little bit about how she's not going to be able to stay at the castle anymore. So there's more emotion. And so rather than trying to create that artificially using my bow, I can just switch to a higher string, and that already creates a different mood. Because listen, if I played it on the G string, then it's all the same, it's more of the same tone. Whereas then this next part of measure 8, I want it to sound like the beginning again, because she's just kind of thinking, well, you know, do I really have a place to go? I don't know. Now I like doing the little slur here at measure 9. The way you accomplish that, so you have your B flat, then before you stop moving your bow, before you do the bow change, just start sliding your finger down, nice and easy. And that creates kind of a nice, what we call a glissando. Gliss being slide. So you don't want to do too much of it, obviously, because if I went, it doesn't sound very good. But if it's just subtle. So another trick to do before you make the bow change is to let up on the pressure. And that creates kind of this airy feel. It's almost like skating on ice, where you have that feeling of gliding but not pressing. Okay, so Okay, and then keep going. And you know, here I would probably, if I really thought about it, I'd probably want to do this. So the Fs, these right here, I kind of am intentionally putting those on the G string, and then the other notes I'm putting on the D string. For the same reason that I explained earlier, is the voicing. I want her voice to sound more pleading, or you know, more expressive on those notes, but not so much on the Fs. Okay, so this is just me. Okay, this is my own style. Let's go to measure 12. Now, when you have a really long note like measure 13, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to hold it for that length. Instead of doing this, which a lot of people would do, it's just such a plain note. There's nothing happening. So first, use less bow in the beginning of the note, and then gradually increase it. And then number 2, start by vibrating a little bit. You know, not too much. You don't want to overpower the note, but something like this. Let's see. Let me start at measure 12 again. You want it to grow. Most notes that are long should either be growing or shrinking, not just staying level. And so growing usually means that you're going to start moving your bow faster, or you're applying more pressure, or you're adding vibrato, or a combination of all three. So you can see how it can get a little bit confusing or a little bit tricky. It's going to take some experimentation, but this is kind of how I like to do it. Okay, so then this next part, I feel like, you know, she's deciding now. I'm just going to let it go. Let it go. I'm just going to use my powers. So instead of, right, that sounds about the same as it was in the beginning. We want to change that. So I'm actually going to change my articulation, because she's saying let it go. And that, when you say it, let it go, there's a lot of spaces in your dictation. So instead of let it go, it's not let it go, it's let it go. Maybe not that marcato or that much space, but you know, something like that. Again, I'm jumping to the A string because I want that note to pop. I don't want it. Okay, first of all, that's a hard jump to make. Second of all, it doesn't pop the same way as. Okay. Now I could do, but that just, again, it's not the right voicing. See, what I want is to have the C come out and then back off, because she's not totally giving into the power yet, right? She's kind of experimenting with it. Little wisps here and there, getting more confident. Let's see, so now we're at pick up to measure 17. Now you have a D, and by nature, the higher notes tend to pop out more than lower notes, so you can play that D the same way that you played the C, and it's going to have a little bit more pop because it's a higher note. So, measure 17. And you don't have to do it this way. You could go, you could skip that second D, but I put it in there because that's what the voice does. Da, da, da. I guess it's one of the embellishments that people do when they're singing. And I do slur those really fast notes, because otherwise it comes out. You can't even hear the notes, right? And it's a little tricky to play it that quickly. So, measure 19. You can either go to the first position, or, and I actually, in this one, I don't want it to pop too much, so. Now that I think about it, measure 20, maybe I do it like this. And then switch. You see that? So measure 20, I'm on the A string, then switch to the D, then to the G. Okay, so there's the logic there. Let's keep going. You've asked me about how to play this. You can either do it in second position. Actually, I would do it in third, now that I think about it. that's just the orchestration. I just threw that in there. You don't actually have to play it. She doesn't sing that until the next measure on the second beat. And for the same reasons that I explained before, I don't want to play open string. It's just too abrasive. Plus I can control each of the notes using my vibrato. And then here, I think in my performance, I played it on the D string, but ideally for me, I actually want to go up. Because now I'm going to go to the D string. She's getting even more bold. See what I did with the vibrato again? Now she's getting more bold. So now I'm not going to play it up here. It's too soft. And that C, again, pops out because it's a higher register. And I like to give it a nice vibrato on that, if there is such a thing as a vibrato. I'm sliding my second finger up to get to the C on a 3, because my 3 on vibrato is much stronger than my 4. Let's see. That's with my 4, and then with the 3, you see how it just has more sound. Remember that principle of making the note grow? And actually, that's really hard to do right here on a very low one. So maybe I would recommend for that note that you would go up to third position. This is measure 31. Now I'm intentionally going to the A string because I really want this to be loud. This is measure 35 now, pick up. Now I'm doing a slide here, not too much, but... And I'm giving away my little secret here, which is to slide up. Using the first finger, you slide up to third position, then put your finger down, your third finger down. So measure 36. I'm kind of backwards in my bow. And again, with these slides, I do not recommend that you do a big sloppy slide. Don't do too much, otherwise it comes out. You don't want that too much. You want, which requires letting up on the bow a little bit and then moving pretty quickly. And don't miss, like I just did. You pick whether you want to play it down here or up here. I have a hard time vibrating really, really big down here against because my fingers hit the pegs. And so I would recommend that you go, this is measure 38. Use the vibrato now instead of just the string to make it sound more bold, and then back off on the vibrato when you get to the pickup to measure 39. So let me start measure 37. Now back off. And then she starts to make the castle, right, and out of ice, and so start very soft. Then back off. So it's kind of like this phrase thing where you start off soft, make it big, right around where the D flat is. That's kind of your highest peak, and then come back down. And then same thing again. These offbeat, these hemiola feels, where it's like dun 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 dun. It's hard to count. It's easier if you have an accompaniment. Just try not to rush. I think I might have been rushing through a few of these passages. Just cool it. You don't really have to go so fast. But at the same time, you want it to always make it feel like to the audience that it's moving forward. And so the way to do that is on each of your bow changes, make sure that you have enough movement at the very beginnings of each bow. So, you see how I'm doing that? Otherwise, you could do this. It's very flat. There's no motion. Whereas if I start off with little bow and increase the bow and then decrease the bow, as well as varying the amounts of pressure that I'm adding, and then of course your left hand doing whatever it's doing. Okay, now I'm going to the D string, which I already was on, but now I'm going to make it sound a little bit more bold. Okay, now not too much at 47, but enough presence. And then remember, let's just start off nice and not a whole lot of bow. And actually here you could even split up your bow. If you're really sneaky, this is measure 48. See that? Let's see, so let's go to, I want to show that again. So measure 47, so this was very hard to transcribe because the voice does so many interesting and weird things, especially with the words that come out. So each of these passages is a little bit different. It's hard to just read. Anyways, that's why I screwed up there. Let me start at 54. Now here, in my performance, I actually backed off. Because if you back off and then you crescendo through 57 to 58, then it gives even a bigger impression that you're crescendoing. If you start off really soft, in the voice, she doesn't do that. She actually just, pow, hits it right away. So I don't know which way I like better. I think for violin, it's more appropriate to back off. For voice, maybe it is more appropriate to just push through it. So that's why I changed it there. And then you have the, she's got that kind of smirky little, I didn't care anyways. So you have to be able to contrast with, right? So that's not too shocking. Okay, so there you go. There's your little tutorial. Hopefully this helps, gives you some talking points. I'm very interested to hear your comments and things that you're trying out. Give me some questions, let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them. Enjoy. I'm going to go watch Frozen next time I have a chance. Hopefully my wife and I can go out and leave the kids home at some point. So, anyways, good night.